Hey guys, Sean Ellich here, Sales Lead Automation. There's been a lot of talk about how AI could potentially impact your SEO and your search engine rankings. I found something really interesting I thought I would share with you. But before I get into that, I thought I would at least share with you how does AI actually detect AI? So let's get into that. Okay, so AI basically looks at things like pattern recognition. All the large language models are trained on massive amounts of human written content, so they can look for and detect unnatural phrasing and choice of words. Perplexity, this is not the large language model, but it basically measures how predictable a sequence of words is in a sentence. Burstiness, which is a new word for me, refers to the variations of sentences in length and structure because AI typically writes in kind of a uniform text, whereas humans write in different lengths and different structures. Then there's linguistic structural analysis, meta traces, anomaly detections, and then commonly known AI outputs. So we decided let's run a test and see how this really impacts our organic rankings. But before I do that, I thought I would share with you what are some of the AI detection solutions on the market. These tools will tell you that they humanize content, but what they're trying to do is they're trying to just basically take that content and convert it into a fashion so that it doesn't look so AI written. We took a standard GPT output and we ran across these four tools, and we found that BypassGPT.ai came back 100% undetectable. So we're looking at adding BypassGPT to our platform that I'll get into later that will help us humanize the content. We just have to see what the impact of it is, how drastic it is from the original input to the output. But here's where it gets interesting. I'd like to share with you a research study that we conducted for our clients and how it's ranking. Even though it was written mainly by ChatGPT, it still ranks. In fact, it actually got indexed by AI. So let me share what that looks like. Okay, so like a lot of content marketers, the idea is to create an original piece of content, a research study, white paper, and then repurpose it. And so in this case, we surveyed over 1,028 corporate HR and relocation mobility professionals around the United States. And then we broke that study up into smaller research studies for specific industries, manufacturing, tech, finance, insurance, and energy, as well as engineering. So after I took the data from the survey, I analyzed the results, and I wrote the first draft. Pretty much the rest of the piece was written by AI. Of course, there's some minor human editing, but I'd say 90% of the final piece was AI written. And I was a little concerned about how that was going to impact our ranking. Well, here's where it gets interesting. If I take that piece, and you'll see here, if I typed in corporate relocation research study, we're actually getting indexed by Gemini. The first three links, in fact, are not just that particular research study, but the top three that we just generated. I found that real interesting. We also ranked organically number one, and our lead gen site, which is really just regurgitating the same content and pointing to the research study on the website, is also ranking. And so that tells me that Google and search engines and AI itself, what they're really looking for is original content. So if you're a content marketer, surveying your industry, surveying your ICPs, collecting that data is something that AI just can't do. So it's going to put a higher emphasis on these insights that can be collected from research studies, which can really lead to some success for you when it comes to your lead gen and your demand generation efforts. So I thought it was really interesting to see how well it ranks. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to take this content and then I'm going to run it through the humanizers and basically DAI it and see if that has an impact on our search rankings as well. Probably share that onto the lead gen site so it doesn't impact what we're clearly already doing really well with today. But it'd be interesting to see just how much different the content appears once we actually dehumanize it. So stay tuned for more.